Well, up next, let's check in with one of my colleagues. Clay Patton is standing by with this week's market conversation with Mike Zuzolo.
Well, thank you very much, Bryce. I'm excited to be joined now with Mike Zuzolo, Global Commodity Analytics. And Mike, we're looking late 2023, early 2024 markets. I start here in the grain complex. It's been a little shaky with USDA data really showing an aggressive U.S. production once again this year, despite a little bit of a challenging growing season. But where our harvest is basically in the bins, I'm keeping an eye to South America right now. Weather has definitely been an issue there in west central Brazil. They've been extremely dry. Do you see that playing out into the first quarter of 2024 as well?
Yeah, I really do. You know, Clay, it's one of those markets kind of similar to last year at this time when it comes to South America. Although I will say I don't remember a time since I've been doing this that we've had such extremes in northern Brazil being such exceptionally drought, already 100+ degree temperatures, which would be in early summer down there right now, versus southern Brazil, which is dealing with so much wet weather that it's actually probably backing up the port of Paranagua right now with vessels. And that doesn't look to end anytime soon. And so I do think that as we go into the holiday season especially, that South American weather probably will play a bigger role than normal, similar I think to maybe last year. And I think it's going to add a lot of extra volatility on what maybe would be more of a quiet time period, especially for the smaller trader or the institutional investor.
So there's going to be a lot of eyes kind of watching as we go out and flip the calendar what's happening in South America. Logistically, though, you were talking about it. I know we were struggling with some lower Amazon rivers earlier in the year. Is that southern moisture helping that, or are they still facing logistical challenges getting what was a big crop last year out into the world market?
Yeah, from what I can tell right now, it seems as though the Mississippi River situation south of Memphis is very similar to what Brazil is dealing with in terms of a north-south river congestion issue. And I think the flooding issues are probably creating issues with road problems, problems with getting trucks through the Amazon forest because of washouts and landslides and things like that. Producers in that southern part of the country, some are saying they're going to replant as much as 30% of their soybeans at this point. And that's going to be really tough to get a good yield off of. It's possible, but I think after the Thanksgiving holiday, if we're still dealing with these kind of issues, I think the trade will start to clip and start cutting back that production number. I suspect the trade's still sitting around a 160 million metric ton bean crop for Brazil right now.
Let's talk about the crop here in the U.S., though. USDA data indicates that really we have most of it in the bin at this point coming late into the year. With that, are you seeing any moves in the cash market that would indicate is the farmer shutting the door on the bin, or are they still letting some out into this cash market right now?
Farmer's shutting the door in the bin, but he also probably has a little bit more than he expected, so he probably is letting some out in the last month. But I would suspect going into the holidays he's going to be pretty tight holder. One thing that I am keeping a track of is the central corn belt. You know, the Mississippi River I talked about, and it losing a lot of its river levels as we go into the holidays. But the central Illinois cash basis is starting to really perk up pretty dramatically. And eastern corn belt farmers in some areas are telling me they've got too high a moisture. They're going to lose probably some of their yield through a lighter test weight. So these are a couple things I'll be watching going into the new year in that January crop report.
Let's talk about the holidays as well from a trader's perspective. Thanksgiving, Christmas, it can be a lull time in the business world. Do you see that as a lull this year for traders, or are they going to be actively still engaged in the market throughout the end of the year?
I think we're going to be very active because there's just too much at stake with the price of beans right now. I'm in the red zone for selling more of my 23 soybeans for clients, and starting on 2024, I don't want to lose this $13 plus level, and I want to take advantage of this South American weather because we've been dealing with weather in supply for the last 3 years, Clay. We can't seem to get the demand side on our side, and I think that's because of the Fed and because of the U.S.-China policy.
So let's go ahead and take that 30,000-foot view here, that macro market picture. You're talking about the Fed. We finally have seen inflationary data really slow down here in the last part of the fourth quarter. Is that a concern, and will the Fed have to capitulate in 2024, or can Powell continue to be hawkish and want to at least hold interest rates where they're at?
I think that's where I'm at. He's on a long pause right now, but I don't think we're cutting anytime soon. But I think that's enough for the market to say at least the Fed is not trying to work against the hard assets and against the commodity sector.
Now, when we talk about U.S.-China relations, is there any logistical issues that South America is having that kind of forces China's hand to come here to the U.S., or are they finally filled enough in those stockpiles, those state-held stockpiles, that they don't have to come to the U.S. if they don't want to?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think they bought what they want for right now, but I'm also hearing from some sources that they're really adding to their large hog production. They're building buildings right now and putting fresh sows down right now. I don't know how much of that is going on in the country, but it's something to really watch.
There's a lot continuing to go on. What are going to be the key sectors that you're going to watch in 2024? Maybe if we look back to, say, 2020 was the inflation year, a nice boost in commodity prices. Any themes or anything that you're going to be watching for in 2024?
I think clients that I work with have really appreciated the fact that the Bloomberg Commodity Grain Index against the 2-year Treasury yield has almost a negative 100% relationship right now if you look at it over a 2 or 3 month basis. That negative relationship is because the money is not sitting where it needs to be, and that's in commodities and in grains. And so we need the bond yields to break, I think, Clay, and that's the big thing for me in 2024. We need the investment flows to come back in and get us off this weather supply-led rally track.